Well, hello and welcome to Khaane Pe Charcha. जी हाँ, when every time we meet Samir and Dinshaw, either we talk food, markets, and we talk wisdom. But today we'll be talking about the second innings which Samir Arora has decided to take a plunge in. And my question when I heard was that why now? Maybe he's getting inspired from Warren Buffett, who has made 90% of his wealth after he turned 60.
That is also one of the motivations.
The space where you were present, you decided to come back to that same space after a gap of almost 2 decades now. That time, the scenario, the landscape was very different. Now the entire Indian mutual fund scenario is very different. I've been told there are 46 mutual funds. You'll be the 47th one. Why?
So the thing is, actually it is easier this time because last time a lot of effort was spent in explaining what is a mutual fund. Ab thankfully everybody knows कि mutual fund सही है and we only have to say कौन सा mutual fund सही है उनमें से.
Actually, SIP has become the new EMI now, right?
Yeah, that also, but a better version.
But my point is, you are managing a very successful hedge fund. Your PMS is doing rather well. Why walk on a path where you will have to come back again, do a lot of hard work, talk to press, talk to media, meet distributors? What is the ROI?
So first thing is, do you think I was not talking to the press before? I was already talking.
Again.
For 20 years I was talking to the press. No, I think is we all enjoyed the first innings too much. We also enjoy the fact that if our performance has been good in the past, if that is also available to the small or the average investor, it just gives you a bigger boost in terms of your feeling that, see, everybody knows how this model has worked. It's just that ethically at heart, we like the fact that people have given us so much love and respect. And for me, so I like going traveling everywhere by train, by plane. Even tonight, by the way, I'm going to Vadodara. So I keep doing that and I enjoyed it first time and I'm enjoying it, as you can see from Twitter. Maybe more this time. Last time there was no Twitter to share the joy.
भैया आगे बढ़ने से पहले खाना ऑर्डर करते हैं. खाने पे चर्चा, खाना तो मिसिंग है. So what I will do is that I will use my phone, use the Culinary app, and I'm going to order. And I'm going to take the liberty of second guessing that it would be continental for you and Indian for you.
Okay, no problem.
छोले दाल बिरयानी.
Very good.
छोले दाल बिरयानी. Continental.
और आ कहाँ से रहे हैं?
ये ताज क्यूमन से आ रहे हैं. 20 minutes. वो कहते हैं ना 20 minutes. वो जुबिलेंट का एक ऐड था ना 20 मिनट तो पिज्जा फ्री. तो ऐप में लिखा हुआ 20 minutes of food actually would be served in a Kamla Mill office. So I'm going to be doing some punching. There you go. Cumin lunch ordered. UPI payment done. And before the show ends, the promise of hot food from Taj. Let's enjoy it. So you're coming with one scheme. Is the plan to then eventually make an umbrella?
So actually we started off with a date scheme, which was an overnight scheme, which is mainly for housekeeping.
That's liquid.
Yeah, so nothing.
Like खर्चा निकालने.
Yeah. No, not even that. For switches and for STP and
not for खर्चा.
चलो जी खाना आ गया. No sharing.
Normally, I would have had 2 gulab jamun. Now you force me.
4 तो टोटल है. तो आपके 2 इनके लिए को क्या मिलेगा? You bad reputation parties.
Oh no. I love that.
तो आप थोड़ा मैजिक ट्रिक करते हैं. गुलाब जामुन आप करो. Food is here. So दाल होनी चाहिए.
बिल्कुल.
सिंगापुर में खाते हो?
काफी खाते हैं.
Dinshaw, what's your favorite Indian dish? You have bad reputation parties.
Oh no. I love dal. Actually, I love dal. So that's my favorite. And in fact, my soul food is dal and chawal.
But I love the Parsi delicacies, the vegetarian delicacies.
I can imagine where everything else has got egg in it. So
even so many years, I must say that Dinshaw has only met me on TV. Last time when we met for Chat Pe Charcha, he's never offered me that please come home. I'm getting some good Parsi veg dishes for you. So 20 साल हुए. Samir has been slightly more hospitable.
काफी पंजाबी है वो.
Okay.
my wife is a Marwadi, so you won't get
So Samir, if the starting point is today, which is October 2023, looking at the fact that things are on the right side, we will continue to grow at 6 to 7%, maybe in nominal terms about 12 to 13%. Do you think it is logical to imagine that Helios could give market-beating returns anywhere between 15 to 18%?
ऐसी बातें कहनी allowed ही नहीं है, तो कुछ पता नहीं जी. We don't know.
But the attempt would be to make a portfolio which
Attempt
would
is
give us-
always to, for any active fund manager, the attempt is always to do better than the index.
But for you to achieve that, would you be taking higher risk?
No. Why? We have to basically sort the universe into stocks which are good or bad and eliminate the bad, which is why we call it elimination investing. Whether it pays off or not is something that you cannot promise because you yourself don't know. But historically, that has worked.
So can I attempt something
yes.
here? So Nikunj, if you see the index, whichever index you take up, 1/3 of the stocks do phenomenally well and 1/3 do phenomenally badly. So our elimination investing process is trying to eliminate those 1/3 phenomenally badly. There will be stocks
Attempt
which
to reduce.
attempt is to reduce those 1/3, the bottom part of the index as such. So if only if you avoid those 1/3, then your averages can be better than the index. That's how it is. So
How
that's
will
what
the PMS be different from the mutual fund or vice versa?
yeah, so the PMS actually takes binary calls on say sectors, right? So if you don't like a sector, it'll be 0 in that. It'll be like 1 or 0 call. But in the mutual fund, since you're doing a daily NAV, you need to be close to the index somewhere. So we'll probably be underweight the sectors, or maybe we'll be absent also. For all you know, depends on the manager. But the fact is that there'll be some more stocks in the mutual fund than what we are having in the PMS.
By the way, I have personally invested in the NFO, and that's just my respect and my regard for Samir and the years of his investing career. He's an original thinker, and I'm sure that template really would be at play because his ability to identify the next big thing is something I've always vouched for in some of the previous occasions. For example, HDFC Bank 30 years ago.
28.
28, almost.
It was
30.
not listed 30 years ago.
28 years ago. You bought into Trent, you bought into a lot of retail
You own
businesses.
5% of Kotak.
Exactly.
5% of the whole bank.
So will it be that Samir Arora style
First
again?
of all, it is not my style now in the sense now it's become a organization or a firm. But generally the style is not that you have to own 5% of anything, but nowadays the companies have become also so big. And also now new smaller companies don't get listed because of private equity intervention. But broadly the model has worked, as I say again and again, that you first remove the bad, so reduce the probability of making grievous errors and cost of error is low. And then from the stocks that cannot be rejected for any factor, then you choose the good. And the difference between us and others, because nobody will say that they buy bad factors, like bad management or bad history or bad theme, is but I think they do trade off. That means they will accept high valuation by saying it has good management, or they will accept poor quality management by saying it is very cheap and discounted. We have understood that there is no need to make these trade-offs, and that is how the consistency has come. In fact, we are betting on it. If you see our tagline, is हर term के लिए. Effectively, we are saying, don't buy into this thing. Oh, it'll all work out in the long term. We are holding ourselves to this sort of standard or whatever, a goal that her term ke liye, which means every broad, medium term also it should do well. But who knows?
So it's not the classic way when fund managers and mutual fund CEOs, they tell us, think long term, start SIPs, time your goals.
No, we'll say the same thing.
You'll say the same.
We say the same thing. We are saying do very long term into the fund. For us to evaluate the long term, we will go through midterm. And if the midterm is good, we will hold it for the long term. For example, I have not bought HDFC Bank in those days thinking I am holding a 20-year story, but it continued to do well, so we continue to hold it. Rather than us saying, oh, we don't care what you are doing because we are long-term investors. That's what I was giving that example that Mr. Buffett bought Apple and maybe a year or two before that bought IBM.
Yes.
Now IBM does not exist because after a 2-3 year period he realized that you should be flexible and move on.
These are large positions. We are talking
That
about
is the model.
$10-12 billion, maybe more for him to churn actually.
Yeah.
When the NFO closes and when the real NAV will be discovered, which will be a function of market and that day's fund, what will be the composition of this scheme? How will it look like in terms of stock sectors?
So first of all, it's not clear, but we don't know whether they are buying it on day one.
Okay.
There is some 1 month, 60
3
days.
months.
3 months.
3 months you can.
Generally, our firm's policy is not to overly time the market. But we will see on 6th or whatever. So your question is which sector,
How will
what market
would
caps
be the
that
portfolio?
Mr. Irani, the portfolio, how can we tell you? We don't, I don't think they even know themselves what the portfolio will be.
So the mix will be.
You must have identified the winners, right?
Yeah, sure. So basically, how we gone about is that if you're talking about India in a medium to long term, you're talking about GDP growing, and GDP grows only if consumption kicks in, right? Capex can only take you that much, consumption has to kick in. So obviously, consumption will be one sector which will be a big overweight in our portfolio. Finance, which is banks and NBFCs all put together, even insurance and all, that is a double whammy for them because they don't only fund the consumption, but they also fund the capex needed for that consumption. So obviously, finance will be another big overweight in our portfolio.
So finance is the main pillar.
Main pillar will
Consumer
be
and finance.
Consumer and finance. Those two will be the main pillars. Yeah.
या तो आप नहीं खा रहे हो या मैं ज़्यादा खा रहा हूँ.
नहीं, I am having.
दाल तो बहुत बढ़िया है, I must say.
And typically, in the past, we also used to own a lot of IT. So there were three pillars. That IT pillar will come back one day, I guess. Currently, we are enjoying the absence of IT in our portfolios.
But in your PMS schemes, you bought into Zomato, you bought into Paytm. In the fund also,
we don't know.
In that whole story hold.
We don't know.
You don't know. So you would be actually from the house of Helios Asset Management. There could be two parallel portfolios now.
We don't know. Okay. We can't talk about stocks.
No, I'm just trying to understand the flavor.
Broadly, they should because they are all coming from the same research.
The conviction level is high.
They should be bought. But I'm saying that there's a little bit of discretion or a lot of discretion with the fund manager. And secondly, at one point the price was 50 when I bought it. Now the price is 100. Now whether I can push it for some time, the new fund manager may say little less, little more. But the basic ideas are coming from the
universe.
Research.
How large is your universe? How large is your research team?
So we have around 8 people in investments. The universe is around 200 odd stocks, and it keeps adding. I mean, adding or deducting depending on how the elimination investing.
No, so 200 is what we could actually there were 450.
Yeah.
And we eliminated 200 odd that we will never buy them.
No, the investable universe we're talking about, right?
So I'm just saying, so from 400, by using this elimination factors, we eliminated some 200 companies saying we will not buy.
So I like to draw Samir your attention to the launch. It is 6-8 months ahead of the general election. And then before that there is state election cycle.
Correct.
These are binary events, these are swing events.
These are binary events, but at least the central elections or the main elections, we don't think are equal probability binary events. But otherwise they are binary. But the probability of there being a shock may be very less, maybe, I don't know, 10% or I don't know how. But if that came, that would be a big negative, maybe worth 15% on the index, which will then take you a year to recover. But because the probability is not even, that way every event in life there's some probability of things going off or wrong,
If you would have launched this fund in December 2020, in the despair of COVID, that time markets were not cheap, but they were super cheap. It is like saying gold was available at a price of silver. Now, 24 karat gold is available at a price of 22 karat gold. And in some pockets, gold is trading at a price of diamond.
But actually, if 24 karat gold is trading at the price of 24 karat gold, that is also okay. In the sense, when people buy, they buy it at the market price and whatever that be.
No, the margin of safety, is it there, right?
The margin of safety is in the fact that the market or the economy or India in the past has been growing at 13-14% rupee term returns. So unless you find specific reasons that because of that something massively wrong has happened on valuations, plus minus the market will do that only, and then we are supposed to do whatever we can. But the idea that you should have bought in 20 or many people say I bought it in COVID, that can't be a model for a fund because those events come every 7-8 years. What do you do for the rest of the years? So broadly the starting point, if at all, would have helped those people. But what about the people who would have bought 1 year later? It's an ongoing game that equity does better than debt and equity does better than gold. And once in a while it doesn't, but in the long term it again does. And our job is to try and outperform that index.
Healthy कोई नहीं खा रहा है यार, सब बोलते green खाने के लिए.
Healthy show के लिए होती है.
Green vegetables. देखिए समीर जी, green vegetables.
मैं पहले दाल खा लूँ फिर बात करूँ.
You know, nothing still can beat. I've lived in Delhi, I've lived in Rajasthan. Nothing can beat the Delhi ka dal. Hands down. You've been a Bombay boy.
No, actually I was born and brought up in Delhi.
Okay.
So I'm quite. That's why मेरी हिंदी बहुत अच्छी है. मेरी पंजाबी बड़ी चंगी है ये.
और गुजराती भी आती है.
दो यार. So
आप गुजराती चैनल नहीं खोल रहे?
अभी हिंदी को बड़ा कर रहे हैं. वो प्लान है. दाल
या
कोफ्ते भी हैं जी. दे दही बल्ला है ना, स्पेशली समीर भाई, डेडिकेटेड टू द Delhi boys.
या
Which is your favorite all-time favorite restaurant in Delhi?
In Delhi? भूल ही गया.
All-time favorite dish?
I used to go to this place called Moti Mahal in Old Delhi.
वो तो पूरा old Delhi.
They say the original butter chicken recipe actually is from there.
yeah.
That's what they claim.
No, actually now I went to this in Noida called Daryaganj,
Okay.
and they have put up some this thing that we
It's Moti Mahal in Daryaganj. I think
No,
the same one.
the restaurant name is Daryaganj.
Acha, acha.
And they say they have those photos of Atal Bihari Vajpayee and all, Mohammad Rafi and all coming there, and they say we made the original butter chicken and we made the original dal or something. They give all their, so who knows?
You know, restaurateurs have also learned the art of fund managers.
Exactly.
How to look at data and why we are the best and how our schemes are better than others.
Correct.
Very true.
Your favorite restaurant?
I told you, Moti Mahal.
मोती महल. हाँ, आपने बताया नहीं.
पता नहीं, मैं तो हमारे घर में खाना अच्छा बनता है तो इंडियन खाना आई डोंट रियली फील दैट आई एम मिसिंग आउटसाइड.
You used to go to this Bengali market one.
बंगाली मार्केट वो सब छोले भटूरे हैं, not for the
नहीं, चाट पे चर्चा, that last show, the food I think was excellent.
No,
right?
you know that way I grew up in Nathu because we used to live in Bengali market.
Favorite fund manager?
Oh,
Why? You've never invested money outside
No.
what he's done?
no, not really. I mean, in fact, my offshore money also is in our fund. So, but that is the offshore fund.
Please clarify.
You've never bought an index fund?
Never,
No, index
never
funds.
ever.
Why is this?
That's
Is this the global fashion?
That-
Everybody says that okay, ETFs is the way forward. They
No,
are
it is the
cheaper.
way. No, they are cheaper. And basically, as I was telling you, that 50-60% of the people will not beat the index. But since we are active guys and our formula has worked, and not worked 1 year, but broadly over any 2-3 year period also, then why should we put? But otherwise, it's not that it is total ridiculous to put money in an index fund. That's okay.
If I look at the current market setup, and before I do that, let me take the clock back. 20 years ago, it was difficult to download a balance sheet. 20 years ago, it was difficult to analyze individual mid-cap stocks because there was no coverage.
Correct.
Now there is extensive coverage.
Correct.
There are views, there is curiosity, and there is information flow which I think
Completely
is
available.
completely available. Do you think markets are becoming more efficient?
Oh yes, they are. So we say actually in our the old Helios website, not the mutual fund one, but they'll integrate one day, that the difference between people is no longer information, it is knowledge. In the sense to have said that this we have seen in the past or this is happening. Otherwise, everybody has access to conference calls and breaking news and ET now and everything else, which was not the case then. So definitely it has changed, and that's why the returns are not that wild compared to the returns we made in the past, where new sectors were coming up and the benchmark was old.
But shouldn't it be other way around? If the economy is becoming big, new sectors would chip in?
Actually, the new sector, no, those were really new sectors, like IT itself came, private sector banking came, private media came. That kind of things are not happening.
You don't see anything like
No,
this?
those, because the sectors have been covered. Now you can have a few companies saying we have a new business model. Let's say the Zomato, Paytm times, you could say. But there are only X number of sectors in the world. And that time, some of them were there in India but not listed. And some were not even there. So that combo was different, and the index was behind in updating. So that's why we could all beat the index by like 30%. Those days are obviously not available.
So just two follow-up questions. फिर खाना खाएंगे. मिठाई भी आने वाली है. स्वीट डिश में शायद गुलाब जामुन है. दिल्ली वाला गुलाब जामुन. खोए अंदर. मैं जानता हूँ जी. So Samir, if I look at the market, according to data what we get from brokerages, 90% of the market participants, they have time frame of less than 1 year. 5% is broadly where the time frame is 1 to 3 years, and it's really minuscule. 2 to 3% is where the time frame is 5 years beyond. This fund, do you think will be catering well to somebody who's got 1 to 3 year time frame or 5 year plus?
5 year plus. We are saying that equity markets in the long run do well, but how to do better than that equity market is by you being ready to change if needed or to add if needed. But there is no need when the market is liquid, when the market is visible, that I must today take a 20-year bet. I will take a 3-year bet, and if it is continue to do well, I may add or I may walk away. But since a large number of companies do well in the medium term, but the same companies don't do well again and again, that's why if you see in the long term, private sector banks, really only 2 banks have created wealth. HDFC Bank, Kotak Bank.
वो भी underperform कर रहे हैं.
अब वो आजकल, but also over time. But if you had started in 98 or 97, there were at least 5 other banks, Times Bank and पता नहीं कौन, GTB, Global Trust Bank and Centurion Bank, Bank of Punjab, वो तो चलो फिर, Bank of Punjab, all of them went to zero. But on that day, you can't say I'm buying long term this, you're buying it in multiples of 1 to 3.
You don't see something like this anywhere in the market. If you have to treasure hunt, shake some trees. Can you find this kind of a theme which could be a powerful theme in next 5-10 years?
No, it could be, but I'm saying you don't know which of those fellows will be the winner.
Of course.
So
let's
therefore,
talk a theme. See, financials cannot be that theme. It's a discovered theme, right? Consumption, that's the India romance.
ऐसे नहीं होता. If you see, if I broadly define consumption, everything will be consumption. You might say now it's shoes, now running shoes, now it is food delivery. Ultimately, it's all.
Hint to do viewers के लिए. What is that mega trend according to you?
I will tell you very simply. In 1 month, our full disclosure of 100% of the portfolio will be there.
Of course.
तो पहले आप फंड में डालेंगे, then only.
और वो 90 days में इन्वेस्ट करोगे ना, 1 महीने में नहीं होगा.
नहीं, हम तो 1-2 महीने में ट्राई करेंगे करने की. So we won't wait 90 days.
So Dinshaw, final question. Every investor has an edge. Every AMC also, has an edge. There was a अरे ये आपके मतलब कर रहे. This is that this chocolate and rasgulla. Now there should be no Delhi Bombay here because sweets में मैं differentiate नहीं करता.
Split.
As long as it is sweet and it is delicious. So to rephrase that, जब गुलाब जामुन आता है ना मैं सवाल नहीं करता हूँ. वो natural है मेरे अंदर. I can still resist dal, but when it comes to sweets, सवाल ही भूल जाऊँ. सोचने दीजिए. So every AMC would perhaps have an edge. There was a time when information was the edge. There was a time when knowledge became an edge, like Samir Bhai said. There is a time when time and human behavior becomes an edge, where you do what others are not doing, or you end up looking at the same investment not in terms of days or weeks, but in terms of years, so the terminal value changes. What would be the edge of Helios AMC?
So I would say, look at the team. I mean, the team has been working together for 18 years. The top investment team I'm talking about. Okay, so that's one definite edge that nobody has in the industry. That they're working together and then they're coming out with the product. The second edge is obviously the fact that whatever you're going to offer you today, we've been practicing it from 2005 as a team, right? So it's not a back-tested product; it's a time-tested product, and we've seen the results of that. In fact, Samir has been practicing it from a lion's days. And the third obvious edge is the way we go about our...
and our energy, I think, is higher than others.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we live and breathe this. And that you can see.
How old are you?
I am 61.
What is the secret of your energy? हमेशा एकदम.
Markets. By the way,
seriously, I want to learn
stock markets.
I appreciate
stock market. But recently, I have actually cut down on sugar a lot. Like normally, I would have had 2 gulab jamuns. Now, if you force me, I'll have
4 तो total है. वो आपके 2 इनके मेरे को क्या मिलेगा?
So, but by having less sugar, only which I've had only less since April, actually your energy goes up, which is amazing. Normally you would feel that sugar is giving you the energy. And maybe
sugar is a new smoking now.
But at some point, maybe sugar gives if it becomes too low than you were supposed to have. And generally, I've been energetic, and Irani ji has been energetic with me.
Yes.
And actually, if you see our team, everybody is every day, chalo, let's go. Tabhi to chalo.
So I don't know, Dinshaw, if you know that Samir had learned magic tricks during COVID.
Oh yeah, I know that. I was one of the subjects on whom we used to practice.
तो आप थोड़ा magic trick करते हैं, गुलाब जामुन क्या करो?
इसका तो पुराना जोक है ना कि how many gulab jamuns you can have on an empty stomach? Tell me how many.
नहीं मेरी स्टमक थोड़ी भरी हुई है.
But how many can you have on an empty stomach?
3-4 तो हो सकता है.
Half. Then it's not empty.
It's been such an engaging conversation. It started with food and it is ending with gulab jamun. And I really hope that that's the sweetness you bring out to your unit holders as well. Good luck.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very much.
I really need to spend more time.
And thank you for your investment. Now please make all all these cameramen and everybody behind also invest.
Past performance is no guarantee of future. With that disclosure, please have a look.
Please read all your disclosure documents carefully before investing.
Chalo guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. That's Khaane Pe Charcha. Back to the studio.